touching on county, inter-county, national, regional, or even international concerns. And this morning, the CS for Public Service will be responding to question. One question will be coming from the nominated Senator Karen Nyamu, and the Senator will want the Cabinet Secretary to provide details on the government's plan to commercialize the National Youth Service, commonly referred to as NYS. Some activities at the entrance of the Senate chambers. That is an indication that the Speaker's procession is right on its way inside the chamber. That is the procession of the Speaker of the Senate, Honorable Amason Jeffa King, there, making his way into the chamber to preside over this morning's sitting. Allow me to now hand you over to this live broadcast that is brought to you by the Parliamentary Broadcasting Unit in partnership with Kenya Broadcasting Corporation. My name is Kamche Menza. Good morning.
Na tuombe. Ewe Mwenyezi Mungu, twakusihi tutazame kwa neema nyingi na baraka sisi watumishi wako ambao umeridhika kutuita kwa nyadhifa za uongozi katika jamhuri hii yetu. Twakuomba tuwajalie na kufikiria mambo yote yatakayofikishwa mbele yetu kwa njia ya haki na uaminifu, ili kustawisha amani, ufanisi na heri ya nchi umeskabidhi mikononi mwetu. Amen. Clerk, do we have quorum? Sergeant at Arms, kindly ring the quorum bell for 10 minutes.
The prayer has been said and the chair taken, but from the look inside the chamber, clearly there are no enough members. For the House to be deemed to have quorated, at least 15 senators should be inside the chamber. But the Speaker has directed the quorum bell to be rung. That means that the quorum is not present yet. And that means that there is a hitch at the commencement of the sitting of the Senate. The time allocated for the sitting is 9:30, and the Speaker's procession should have signaled that the House commences, or the sitting commences, but due to that quorum hitch, that might delay until that quorum is raised. So what you should be expecting to see now is more members to be able to make their way inside the chamber, join their colleagues, and enable the House raise that much needed quorum, of course, for the business to be able to take place. Remember, if that quorum is not present at the lapse of the first round of the 10-minute quorum bell, a further 10-minute quorum bell will be on. But if at the lapse of the second round the quorum will not have been raised yet, then that means that the House risks being adjourned until the next sitting. And you understand that this morning Cabinet Secretaries have been invited to appear before the House. So we believe that the senators will avail themselves because Cabinet Secretaries have confirmed their attendance or appearance before the House to respond to those concerns that were forwarded to their ministries, of course, prior to their appearance this morning, to be able to expound on the concerns that the members have raised regarding matters that may touch counties, inter-county, national, regional, or even international. This morning, the Cabinet Secretary for Gender, Culture and Children Services Hannah Wendot Cheptumo is among the cabinet secretaries that are expected to appear before the Senate chambers to respond to various concerns. The Cabinet Secretary for Public Service, Human Capital Development and Special Programs, Geoffrey Ruku, is also expected to appear before the Senate this morning. The question that he will be responding to is a question by the nominated senator who has just walked in. Senator Karen Nyamu has a few questions for the Cabinet Secretary for Public Service, Human Capital Development and Special Programs. These questions revolve around matters government's plan to commercialize the National Youth Service, that is NYS. And the Senator will want the Cabinet Secretary to provide those details and also to explain how the initiative promotes sustainable employment, how the initiative will promote sustainable employment and long-term skills development for the youth, particularly in marginalized and underserved areas, and also measures that the government has taken or put in place to guarantee transparency and accountability in the commercialization process, as well as whether the Cabinet Secretary could clarify how the findings of investigations into previous instances of financial impropriety at the National Youth Service have informed the current safeguards. That is a question that the CS for Public Service, Human Capital Development and Special Program will be answering this morning, or giving a comprehensive answer to as he appears this morning. The question will be asked by the nominated Senator, Honorable Karen Nyamu. If you're just joining us, is that the House about to commence its sitting? The prayer has already been said and the chair taken. As you can see, the Speaker is already at his seat, just waiting for members to walk in, make their way inside, join the rest of the colleagues. A quorum hitch is currently being faced, and that is why the sitting cannot commence yet. But once that quorum is raised, at least 15 senators will fit to have the House commence its sitting. The quorum bell is set to ring for 10 minutes, and this is to alert senators who may be within the precincts of Parliament and perhaps running late to be able to hasten their steps and join their colleagues inside the chamber. That is the Deputy Speaker of the Senate, Honorable Kathuri Murungi, has also walked in. The whip from the minority side, who is also the Senator for Nairobi County, Honorable Edwin Sifuna. I have just seen him counting the numbers of the members inside the chamber to see whether the number has been attained yet, or perhaps he might be needed to go out of the chamber and whip more members to make their way inside the chambers and allow the House raise that quorum, and also for it to be able to commence the business that is lined up for consideration this morning. Being a Wednesday morning, Cabinet Secretaries will be appearing before the Senate to respond to concerns that normally are forwarded to their ministries prior the day that they will be appearing before the Senate. Right at the front, you can see the stand and seats that the Cabinet Secretaries, once they walk in, they will be able to take a stand and respond to these concerns. And remember, these questions are the primary questions. As the session continues, members of the Senate will have an opportunity to ask supplementary questions, of course, that those that have to be related to the primary question as asked by the senators. So the Cabinet Secretary for Gender, Culture and Children's Services, as well as the Cabinet Secretary for Public Service, Human Capital Development and Special Programs, have confirmed their availability this morning to appear before the Senate. And of course, once that quorum is raised and the business or the sitting commences, these members or these cabinet secretaries will be ushered in. The Cabinet Secretary for National Treasury and Economic Planning has also been invited this morning, or was also invited to appear before the Senate this morning. The Cabinet Secretary for National Treasury and Economic Planning, John Mbadi. And when the Cabinet Secretary shows up, he will be responding to a question from the Senator for Kisumu County, Professor Tom Ojienda. This question revolves around matters Kenya's current stock of domestic and external debt. The Cabinet Secretary will be required to provide information regarding this and also disclose the debt to GDP, that is the gross domestic product ratio. Also, if there are any measures that are in place to ensure the funds raised through borrowing are utilized effectively and translate into tangible development outcomes across the country. The CS will also, in line with that question, give answers to whether the National Treasury could consider developing a publicly accessible tracker that links each debt facility to its corresponding development outcomes. The House is about to commence its sitting. There is a quorum hitch owing to less number of members inside the chamber. As provided for in the House Standing Order number 39, at least 15 senators should be present at the time the prayer is said and the chair taken. Standing Order number 40 indicates that if that quorum is not present, then that would mean that the House has not quorated. And just to give some room to the members who could be running late to get to the chamber, a quorum bell is rung for 10 minutes. Currently, what is on is a 10-minute quorum bell. That is the first round. At the lapse of this 10-minute quorum bell, if the quorum will not have been raised yet, a further 10-minute quorum bell will be on for the members to be able to join their colleagues. But remember, the same standing order provides that if that quorum is not raised at the lapse of the second round of the quorum bell, then the House will be adjourned, actually. So that is the rules that guides the House. And this morning, it's a day that is set aside for cabinet secretaries. That bell has stopped. We should be expecting to hear from the Speaker to be able to understand whether the quorum has been raised for the House to commence. So that is the clerk engaging the Speaker on the matter quorum. Let's listen in.
Times kindly ring the quorum bell for a further 10 minutes.
So the Speaker has directed that a further 10-minute quorum bell be rung. That means that the quorum has not been attained yet. However, at least more senators have walked in during the first quorum bell, the first round of the 10-minute quorum bell. So we believe now that just a few are remaining, perhaps 3 or 2. The whip from the minority side has just walked out. Of course, this is to whip members who may be just yet to make their way into the chamber to be able to hasten their steps. Remember, the commencement of the House or the sitting, the time allocated for the sitting is 9:30. It is now 16 minutes past that particular time or hour. So that is the situation at the Senate now. But we believe that the quorum will be raised. Just a few more members needed. And we believe that quorum will be raised and the business will commence to be able to engage the cabinet secretaries who have made their way to the parliament buildings, specifically to the Senate, to be able to appear before or honor that particular invite that they received from the Senate for them to provide comprehensive responses to the matters that the senators forwarded to their ministries. And once that quorum is raised, then without any further delay, we shall be handing this business back to the House for you to be able to follow on the proceedings of this day. The Cabinet Secretary for National Treasury and Economic Planning also was invited to appear before the Senate this morning. And of course, once the House has raised its quorum and the business commences or the sitting commences, the Speaker will update the House on whether the Cabinet Secretaries are yet at the Senate, whether they have confirmed the availability, and whether they are at the Senate, or if there are any that cancelled that particular confirmation of them being available, whether they cancelled or whether they excused themselves from this particular business this morning. But the Cabinet Secretary for National Treasury and Economic Planning is expected to appear and respond to question also from this is a second question from the Senator for Kisumu County, Professor Tom Ojenda. This second question revolves around the suspension of SACCO registrations across the country. The CS will be explaining the reasons, criteria, and legal basis for that particular suspension of the SACCO registrations across the country. Also, if there are any measures that the minister has put in place to ensure that suspension does not adversely affect access to credit, savings, and financial inclusion. Where the quorum has been attained, allow me to hand you over.
Now. So we'll start the day's business. Clerk, you may proceed to call the first order.
Order number 1, administration of oath. Order number 2, communication from the chair. Order number 3, messages. Order number 4, petitions. Order number 5, papers. Order number 6, notices of motion. Order number 7, questions and statements.
Now, honorable senators, we'll start with question number 090, a question by Honorable Senator Miraj Abdullahi, directed to the CS in charge of Gender, Culture, and Children's Services. Clerk, can you usher in the Honorable CS, please? Honorable CS, welcome to the Senate once again. You're before this House for purposes of responding to question number 090. I will now allow Honorable Senator Miraj Abdullahi to proceed and ask that question.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. Allow me to read my question number 90 and welcome Waziri. What action has the ministry taken to address the chronic underfunding of the Directorate of Children's Services, and could the Cabinet Secretary disclose the budget estimate for the Directorate in the 2025-2026 financial year, as well as the projected budgetary allocation for the Directorate in the medium term? B, what measures has the ministry put in place to ensure timely and full utilization of funds allocated for children's welfare and protection through the Directorate of Children's Services and the Victims Protection Fund? C, Could the Cabinet Secretary also provide a breakdown of the number of children officers deployed to each of the 47 counties and specify the steps being taken to address the issues of officers being assigned to serve multiple counties simultaneously? Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir.
Honourable CS, you may now proceed to respond.
Thank you very much. Good morning, Honourable Speaker and Honourable Members. Let me take this opportunity to thank you for giving us an opportunity to be before this Honourable House to be able to respond to the questions which have been put before us. And therefore, I'll proceed to answer the question as asked. The actions that the ministry has taken to address the chronic underfunding. In response to question number 1, the Ministry of Gender, Culture and Children's Services acknowledges the long-standing challenge of underfunding facing the State Department for Children's Services, formerly the Directorate of Children's Services, which has historically limited the State Department for Children's Services' ability to discharge its mandate of promoting and safeguarding the rights and welfare of children across Kenya. In light of this, the ministry, through the newly established State Department for Children's Services, has adopted a multi-pronged approach to advocate for increased budgetary allocations, ensuring that children protection financing is mainstreamed into national broader planning and resource mobilization frameworks. The key actions taken are as outlined before. High-level budget advocacy and engagement. In May 2025, the ministry held consultations with the Departmental Committee on Social Protection of the National Assembly to make a case for increased investment in children's services. A formal request was submitted seeking an additional 10 billion above what was earmarked for the financial year 2025-2026, and the justification is emphasized as below. The urgent need to scale up children protection service delivery in response to rising cases of abuse, neglect, and exploitation. The financial requirements for recruitment and deployment of additional children officers, the operationalization of new sub-county offices and mobile outreach services, and strengthening data management through the Child Protection Information Management System, known as CPIMS. The second action is integration of children services priorities in national planning frameworks. The ministry has ensured that the strategic priorities of the State Department for Children's Services are well integrated within the medium-term expenditure framework and are aligned to key national development blueprints, including Kenya Vision 2030 and its social pillar, the four-term plan MT4 2023-2027, the bottom-up transformation agenda, particularly its focus on social protection, inclusion, and human capital development. These alignments aim at making children protection a national priority, thereby increasing the visibility and competitiveness of the funding proposals of the State Department for Children's Services during the national budget process. C, administrative restructuring for greater budget visibility. Following the recent restructuring, the State Department for Children's Services was separated from the State Department for Social Protection and Senior Citizen Affairs. These has significantly enhanced the feasibility of the State Department for Children's Services, thereby revealing the deep need for greater budgetary allocation within the national fiscal framework to enable more targeted planning and resource allocation for child protection functions. The second action is budget estimate for 2025-2026. As per the ministry's recent submissions to the National Treasury in May 2025, the total budget estimate for the newly established State Department for Children's Services for the year 2025-2026 is Kenya shillings 318 billion. This is broken down as follows. The recurrent expenditure is 12 billion 74 million, and the development expenditure is 244 million. See the below for the detailed line items under the recurrent vote. I am sure that you already have that. So on the economic classification, compensation to employees is 1 billion 167 867 643. Use of goods and services is 610 million 885 301. Current transfer to government agencies is 10 billion 249 million 698 thousands. Non-financial assets is 45 million 625 350, making that total of 12 billion 74 million 76 and 294. Then we have cash transfers to orphans, what we call OVC. This is orphans and vulnerable children, which is 9 billion 130 736. The State Department is currently supporting 445 children, 516 households, 445, 516 households as per the October 2025 payroll. So that is money that we receive and then we send directly to these families. So the total recurrent budget exclusive of personnel emoluments, that is PE, we have rehabilitation schools. The budget is 127 million 448 388. Then children's remand homes, 98 million 383 588. National Council for Children's Services is 81 million 117,000. Sub-county children's services is 44 million 192,375. Then we have children's services. We have the headquarters. 34 million 355 784. Headquarters emergency relief and refugee assistance is 330 million. Alternative family care services is 3 million 882 225. Child Welfare Society of Kenya 600 million 45,000. Counter trafficking in persons is 2 million 16,475, and presidential bursary is 100 million. The National Assistance Trust Fund, victims of counter trafficking, we have 13 million 500,000. Kenya National Children Assembly is 6.3 million. Kenya Child Helpline 116 is that is an helpline that is open to all children, is 8 million. Children services at regional offices, 5 million 603 263. Cash transfers, which I already mentioned earlier, to is 9 million 130,000 736. 9 billion 130 million 736,000. Street Families Rehabilitation Trust Fund is 180 million. Headquarters Administrative Services is 106 million 445 113. AIDS Control Unit 3 million 225 938. Information Communication Technology 10 million 786 813. Personnel Administration Services is 3 million 225 938. Finance and Procurement Services 7 million 207 688. And Central Planning and Project Monitoring Unit is 6 million 627,000 337, making a total of 10 billion 909 million 434,589 Kenya shillings. We now go to the development projects. I will be able to mention the project and the approved budget for the year 2025-2026. Renovation of Meru Children's Remand Home is 1.96, that is in million. Construction of a kitchen and dormitory at Dagoretti Children Rehabilitation School, 15 million. Fencing of vocational rehabilitation centers and remand homes, 25 million. Renovation of Likoni Children Rehabilitation School, 10 million. Renovation of Nakuru Children's Remand Home, 11 million. Fencing of Ketathuru National Reception and Classification Center, 4.42. Renovation of Nyeri Children's Remand Home, 10 million, 0.54. Renovation of Manga Children's Remand Home, 3.68 million. Othaya Children's Rescue Center, 6,720,000. Renovation of Muranga Children's Remand Home, 7.88 million. Kericho Children's Rehabilitation School and Remand Home, 6.44. Fencing at the Othaya Children's Rehabilitation School in Nyeri is 6,630,000. Fencing of Kakamega Children's Remand Home, 4.71 million. Kakamega Children's Rehabilitation School, 9.6 million. Renovation of Mount Elgon Sub-County Children's Office, 1.59 million. Construction of Ijara Sub-County Children's Home, 2.6 million. Renovation of Muranga Social Development Office, 10 million, 0.23. And replacement of asbestos roofing and renovation of statutory children's one is 100 million. Then the medium-term budget projection for 2026, 2027, 2028, 2029. The ministry is working closely with the National Treasury to ensure a progressive increase in child protection funding over the medium term. The projected budget requirement for the State Department for Children's Services is given in the table below. That is the budget requirement for children's services in 3 outer financial years. Financial year 2026-2027 projected budget allocation is 12 billion 56 million. 2027-2028 is 13.73 billion. 2028-2029 is 15.10 billion. That is progressive. It increases as the years go by. That is between 2026 to 2029. I will now proceed to answer question number 2. And the question was, what measures has the ministry put in place to ensure timely and full utilization of funds allocated for children welfare and protection through the Directorate of Children's Services and the Victims Protection Fund? Response. The ministry has implemented several operational and financial control measures. These are aligned with the best practices in Public Finance Management Act of 2012 to eliminate 2012 Public Procurement and Disposal Act of 2005 and its regulations of 2020 and aim to eliminate delays and inefficiencies. The ministry has undertaken the following. 1, timely approval of work plan, procurement plan, cash flow plan in financial year 2025-2026. Timely request of exchequer from the National Treasury. Timely approval of the planned departmental activities by the accounting officer and the AIE holders. Delays in approvals are tracked and reported to the Principal Secretary for action. Timely requisition of payments by sections and departments. And the ministry has consulted State Department for Public Work engineers and quantity surveyors for support to SDCs in preparing accurate and timely bill of quantities for its capital projects. Accounting officer has delegated authority to incur expenditure to heads of departments. AIE holders are empowered to approve payments within their limits, thus reducing bottlenecks. The Victim Protection Fund in Kenya aims to assist and support victims of crime and abuse of power. Established by the Victims Protection Act of 2014, the fund provides resources for victims, including legal and social services, and financial assistance for expenses related to their well-being. The Office of the Attorney General and the Department of Justice coordinates the function. The Ministry of Gender, Culture, and Children's Services also have responsibility over children's victims who are the most vulnerable and should be accorded priority treatment according to the Children's Act, Cap 141. The third question, which was, could the Cabinet Secretary also provide a breakdown of the number of children officers deployed to each of the 47 counties and specify the steps being taken to address the issue of officers being assigned to serve multiple counties simultaneously? Response. The breakdown of the number of children officers deployed to each of the 47 counties. As of June 2025, the number of children officers deployed nationwide to all 290 constituencies and to the 8 regions, 47 counties, and 353 operational sub-county offices was 714. This is shown in the table below. This is the list of all the counties. So in Baringo, the number of officers that are there are 20.
Honorable CS, you don't have to.
I don't have to read.
Yeah, because that document has been circulated. So just paraphrase it and conclude.
Yes, so I am guided. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. So the total number of officers in the 47 counties, looking at the grand total is 714, and shows the variance. You'll find some other counties have more, others have less, and also because of the geographical distribution, that is something that I will address in the next few minutes as I give the analogy. So the ministry acknowledges the critical role that children officers play in safeguarding the rights and welfare of Kenya's children. In recognition of the urgent need to safeguard and strengthen the child protection workforce, the Ministry of Gender, Culture, and Children's Services, through the State Department for Social Protection and Senior Citizens Affairs, with support from UNICEF, commissioned a national workforce mapping report, official, which was launched in April 2025. This comprehensive exercise, initiated in 2023, analyzed the staffing status, deployment patterns, caseload, and operational gaps across the country, and the key findings from the report are summarized below. One is high child protection burden. From 2019, Violence Against Children survey, it was revealed that over 50% of children in Kenya experience violence before the age of 18, underscoring the magnitude of demand for child protection services. Then there is a severe staffing deficit. From the list that I gave earlier, which I read, currently we have 714 officers that are serving an estimated 18 million children nationwide. This translates to only 2.7 officers per 100,000 children, a ratio that falls significantly below both national needs and regional benchmarks. Operational and logistical challenges. The effectiveness of the officers on the ground is further hindered by inadequate induction and continuous training, unmanageable caseloads per officer, logistical limitations such as lack of transport and equipment, and uneven deployment, with some officers assigned to cover multiple counties, compromising service delivery. County level deployment status. From the county by county breakdown of the deployment of children officers above, it is noted that the average number of officers per county is 15. Officers are present in 353 out of 407 sub-counties. Some sub-counties with high child populations are fewer than 5 officers. In at least 12 counties, children officers are responsible for more than one sub-county, leading to overstretched and burnout. Several sparsely populated counties are managed by a single officer, and in remote or sparsely populated counties, e.g. Mandera, Turkana, Samburu, and Lamu, some officers are covering multiple sub-counties due to workforce shortages. So the ongoing and planned interventions. So to address these workforce disparities, the ministry has initiated a series of immediate and long-term reforms as outlined below. short-term to medium-term interventions. Recruitment proposal for the year 2025-2026. A proposal to recruit 500 additional children officers has been submitted to the Public Service Commission with the aim of reducing the burden on existing officers and eliminating multi-county, sub-county coverage by single officers. Targeted and equitable deployment, guided by the Ministry's strategic plan and operational data. Staff rationalization will be prioritized in underserved counties and ensure station-based postings rather than regional assignments. Structured induction and training. We shall conduct comprehensive induction for recently recruited officers and continuous professional development for other officers to enhance the quality of child protection interventions at the grassroots. Digital workload management via CPIMS. The Ministry is scaling up the Child Protection Information Management System to enable centralized workload tracking, remote case supervision, real-time workload balancing, and evidence-based deployment decisions. Those were now the short-term, medium-term interventions, and we now go to long-term and structural reforms. Strengthening the social service workforce. The Ministry is taking steps to professionalize and stabilize the social service workforce, including liaison with other stakeholders to professionalize the social workforce, to regulate and accredit social service practitioners. Currently, the private members' bill that was in the National Assembly titled the Institute of Social Work Professionals Bills 2025, number 17, which was to establish a council. The bill was passed by National Assembly on 9th October 2025. Proposal to formally integrate child protection volunteers into the workforce through stipends, structured training and supervision, and restructure it to reflect the structure of community health promoters who are very effective on the ground. Gradual shift from reactive casework to preventive and community-based services. Workforce planning using MIDSS. The Ministry has developed and operationalized a multivariable index of demand for social services. This tool ensures equitable staff allocation by considering geographic remoteness, socioeconomic indicators, incidence of child rights violations, and existing caseloads per sub-county. 8-year expansion plan. To meet Kenya's long-term child protection needs, the Ministry has adopted a phased staffing plan covering all 407 sub-counties. Year 1 to 3 is to fill existing 691 vacancies in the approved staff establishment. 2, recruit essential administrative and support staff. And 3, to operationalize 283 sub-county child protection offices. Year 4 to 8 is to scale up to full coverage in 407 sub-counties and to recruit an estimated 7,126 children officers and 1,432 support staff. Projected investment and impact. These projected expansions will require an ambitious cost, but will reap fast benefits that need our consideration. These are given in the table below. I don't know whether I should read this one because it is very small. The parameters are, the total annual cost is 5 billion, 3.9. The share of national budget is 0.15%. Increase in workforce size is 6.8%, the increase that will come when we employ more people. Increase in case handling capacity is 428%. That is up to 1 million cases per year. And then finally, it will bring a reduction in GDP loss from violence against children. So once we deal with that issue, the violence against children will reduce from 4.8% to 2.33%. I submit.
Senator Miraj, you may ask supplementary question if you have any. Yes, Senator.
Mr. Speaker, allow me to ask the last person after my fellow members.
Okay. Senator Chute.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Welcome to the Senate again, Madam. Madam, as you are aware, Marsabit County and Turkana County are the largest counties in this republic. And I'm surprised to see in your response, you have officers in Marsabit County only 9, in Turkana County 11, and in Kajiado County, you have 28. So my question is, have you ever visited those counties? When are you going to visit? What is the justification of having the most largest, biggest county, larger, also very difficult to reach some places, having only 9 officers, and county of Samburu having Kajiado having 28 officers? Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker.
Senator Kinyua.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Karibu Waziri. My question is, I would want to know, you have indicated that you had a formal request of an increment of 10 billion for the purpose of increasing the number of your officers as well as scale up children protection. But having requested that, what I'm seeing is that you have a budget of 11 billion. Then the projected budget for the years to come is 13 billion and 15 billion. Does it mean then that what you had, the question that Chute is asking about more officers are not going to be recruited because the amount that you are asked it for are not given, and in your projection, you're not even showing anywhere that you have captured the 10 billion you have indicated. And what's even shocking me, Mr. Speaker, is that in the budget I am seeing 100 million is provided for presidential bursary, vis-a-vis the development, which I'm seeing is only given 244 million. Seriously, Mr. Speaker, it's the same thing that you're getting even, I'm saying this because I sit in the Committee of Education. It's the same thing I see even in our counties. They are using money to give bursaries that are not supposed to be given to the bursaries. So my question is, if it's a presidential bursary, is it not supposed to be anchored in the State House budget? Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Senator for Meru County, Senator Kathuri.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for this opportunity to ask a supplementary question. But before I do that, Mr. Speaker, I want to thank you because I know the ministry, you know, there is a time we approved my travel to the UK to go and seek for attend a meeting. They are trying to seek funds to connect children in the institutions back to families, Mr. Speaker. So I want to thank you first and foremost for that. And then my question is this, Madam CS, whether you are aware that Meru is leading in teen pregnancies. And my statistics is like almost, we have 4,000 children who have left school this year because of teen pregnancies. Last week during the, I think grade 6 and 9, 17 girls did the exams in Nyambene Hospital in Maua while in the maternity ward. So that is the statistics, Mr. Speaker, for only 1 week. So it shows every week there are almost 20 children who are in the maternities in Meru. So, Madam CS, what are you doing as a ministry in charge of children, at least to ensure that we reduce or we stop completely those teen pregnancies? If I check on this list, the officers in Meru are only 12, Mr. Speaker. Meru has 9 constituencies and 15 sub-counties. So it means there are some counties with no children or child officer or children officers, Mr. Speaker. So what is your ministry doing? And if we